Steve, you are a professor at the University of Memphis' Department of Communication and Film for almost 40 years. But The Old Forest is a project that you did very early in your career here at Memphis. I understand that you found the story by Peter Taylor while you were in the midst of planning your move to Memphis. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I was teaching at a small Catholic university in Connecticut when I took the position here, and that summer I was up in Massachusetts around Cape Cod with some friends, and I went to the library one afternoon, the public library, and got a copy of the best short stories of whatever year it was, 79 or whatever. And there was this story by Peter Taylor about Memphis in 1937, and I read it, and I remember thinking, where am I going to? I'd been there, but the story painted a portrait of a city, albeit many years earlier, that and the way people reacted to certain crisis situations that struck me as so interesting because it was so different from the way people that I grew up with or were working with or just knew in general in the New York area would ever react to the same kinds of situations. And so it really grabbed me. And I also thought, this could be a film. Now, why I thought, oh, you're going to make your first complete fiction film. You're going to make it as a period piece does literally, I think there's over 3 dozen locations in the film. And they all have to be accurate, et cetera, and costumes and everything else. But it just grabbed me, and when I went down to Memphis, the fellow who had lured me down here was somebody I had known in graduate school named David Appleby. And he was very enthusiastic when I gave him the story to read. And he said, no, we can do this, we can do this. And since the film I had just made had been broadcast nationwide on PBS and was considered very much a humanities kind of project, and David had made a film about Memphis's relationship to the Mississippi River called The Invisible River, and it had been funded by Tennessee Humanities Council, or Humanities Tennessee, as it was known at the time. So we felt, okay, we don't have to rely on Arts Council money. We can try to get humanities money, which was always better. There was always more money in the humanities than there was in the arts.
One of the films that this reminds me of, I think, the 76 film that was presented on American Playhouse, Bernice Bobs Her Hair. And I think it's partly because of the length, a 60-minute presentation based on a short story. It's also the period thoroughness. But when you were making it, did you have an idea of where you thought it would fit as a product?
Yeah, I mean, our goal, if you will, our image of what we were trying to achieve was something that could be on Masterpiece Theater. Because I know most of the Masterpiece Theater pieces from the 70s were English, but they were all these literary adaptations. And they had started to bleed over into basically public television in the United States, and there was a series, a man named Lindsay Law was the executive producer, called American Playhouse, which was clearly an emulation of Masterpiece Theater. And what they really, occasionally they do an original, but basically it was independent filmmakers doing adaptations of literary works, American literary works. And there was a style, a Masterpiece Theater style, which focused mostly, I think, on a kind of classical filmmaking. And that series did that pretty well. The films varied a great deal, but it was just a great opportunity for a lot of people who had been doing other things and wanting to direct that hadn't directed yet, or had been directing commercials or whatever, to get to do something serious.
And the film, it did have a life on A&E.
Big life on A&E. My goal was American Playhouse because I had some credits, et cetera, and so forth. Lindsay Law agreed to see me and looked at the film, and he said he was very impressed. He was blah, 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 and he had a script he was going to send to me to see if I was interested, but interested in the sense that if you like it, go out and raise the money and make it, kind of thing. But they were filled for the year. And if I wanted to wait another year, he had no promises, and I didn't want to wait another year. And we had taken it to the Arts and Entertainment Network, and they were very enthusiastic and actually offered us money. Mm-hmm. And because the film is 60 minutes long, we thought we would have to cut it for public television. I think it's 58.40 or something is a public television hour. But the Arts and Entertainment Network showed commercials, and a lot of them. So they took it and they turned it into a 90-minute feature film presentation. And they didn't dare cut one frame from our film. So I could never complain, oh, they butchered the film. Yes, there are a lot of commercials in it, but the entire film was there to be seen. So it was kind of, and they showed it well over a dozen times, always in prime time. They had little previews that they would show before other shows. So I can't complain at all. They did a good job with the film.